He once helped plan a victory that stunned the world, and later marched through Berlin beside Hitler. Erich Ludendorff was a military architect, a political firebrand, and a man whose ambitions soared as high as the empire he tried to preserve, only to watch both disintegrate into chaos. Born on April 9th, 1865, in Kruszewnia, then part of the Kingdom of Prussia, Ludendorff grew up in a stern and disciplined household. From an early age, he seemed destined for a life in uniform. He excelled at military academies, graduating with honours, and quickly earning recognition for his organisational talent and uncompromising work ethic. But it was in August 1914, at the very dawn of World War I, that he emerged from the shadows of the General Staff and carved his name into the annals of history. Germany's invasion of Belgium was the opening move of the Schlieffen Plan, a rapid strike through the neutral country meant to outflank France. However, standing in the path of the advancing German forces was the fortress city of Liège, ringed with concrete forts and defended by a determined garrison. Most believed it would hold for weeks. Time was critical. Ludendorff, serving as Chief of Staff to General von Emich, saw the clock ticking and took a gamble. When his commander hesitated, Ludendorff pushed forward with a surprise assault. Disregarding protocol, he personally led an infantry column through a gap in the defences. His boldness paid off. The German flag flew over Liège within days. The press lionised him. The military establishment, initially wary of his unorthodox methods, was forced to take notice. Overnight, he became the face of German initiative and nerve. Fresh off that dramatic success, Ludendorff was transferred to the Eastern Front, where disaster had struck. Russian armies had crossed into East Prussia, threatening a swift collapse. It was here that Ludendorff partnered with Paul von Hindenburg, an ageing general brought out of retirement. Though Hindenburg provided the calm demeanour and public reassurance, it was Ludendorff who drew the maps and devised the manoeuvres. At Tannenberg in late August 1914, the two commanders executed a sweeping encirclement of Russian forces. The result was annihilation. Over 90,000 Russian soldiers captured, entire corps dissolved. It wasn't just a battlefield victory, it was a psychological triumph. Germans celebrated the operation as revenge for a medieval defeat at the same site. Ludendorff and Hindenburg became household names, elevated almost to mythic status. As the war evolved into a grinding struggle of attrition, Ludendorff's responsibilities expanded far beyond military coordination. By 1916, the Kaiser effectively handed control of the war effort to the Hindenburg-Ludendorff duo. While Hindenburg played the figurehead, Ludendorff assumed day-to-day control. He demanded absolute efficiency, enforcing rigid discipline on the home front and pushing for the militarization of industry and labour. By 1917, his reach extended to nearly every aspect of German society. He dictated economic production, muzzled dissent, and forced through draconian policies. Food shortages and worker strikes were treated not as domestic challenges, but as signs of weakness to be crushed. His concept of total war required unity, sacrifice, and blind obedience. Compromise was a foreign language. Still, his obsession with victory at all costs could not overcome the realities of exhaustion. In 1918, with Germany's position deteriorating, Ludendorff launched a final series of offensives on the Western Front. These spring attacks broke through enemy lines temporarily, but overstretched supply chains and sheer attrition soon reversed any gains. As Allied reinforcements surged and German resistance waned, Ludendorff's confidence collapsed. In October 1918, he abruptly resigned, fled to Sweden in disguise, and left Germany to face the consequences of a war he had largely directed. Defeat might have humbled others, but not Ludendorff. Returning to Germany after the armistice, he turned his frustration outward. He claimed the army had never truly been beaten, instead accusing socialists, pacifists, and Jews of undermining the war effort. This stab-in-the-back narrative, despite being false, gained traction among nationalists, and Ludendorff fanned its flames relentlessly. Disillusioned with democracy, he allied himself with emerging far-right movements. In 1923, he joined Adolf Hitler during the infamous Beer Hall Putsch in Munich, attempting to overthrow the Weimar government. The coup failed. Hitler was jailed. Ludendorff, tried and acquitted, emerged legally unscathed but politically diminished. The public had grown wary of his extremism. In his later years, Ludendorff grew increasingly erratic. He drifted from one fringe cause to another, publishing conspiratorial writings that linked global catastrophe to Jews, Freemasons, and even Christianity. Once hailed as a war hero, he ended up isolated, an embittered man railing against a world that had moved on without him. Erich Ludendorff died on December 20th, 1937,